Guys, Janine the Machine here with another study session, but this isn't just any old study session. This is a very special one because I will be drawing some of the names for the giveaway. I actually did a giveaway this month, so I asked you guys to send me your movie trivia questions to help me study for the Schmoedown, and anybody who sent me a question was entered to win a framed Stranger Things print designed by me. So thank you guys so much. You sent so many questions that I'm actually gonna have to split this video into 2 parts. So I will answer half of the questions now, and at the end of this video I will draw 2 names for 2 of the winners, and then next week I will do a second video answering the other half of the questions and name the other 2 winners. So thank you guys so much for all your support, for participating. I hope this was fun for you, and let me know, and maybe I'll do some more giveaways. So here we go. First question I got was from Jay Burns, and he asked me, in Atlantis the Lost Empire, what does the cookie say are the 4 basic food groups? Now, I think the last time I saw this movie was actually the first time I saw it in theaters when it first came out. I'm not sure why I never revisited this movie over the years. I remember really enjoying it. I loved the animation style. The voice work was really fun. The story was a little bit more complex, so maybe that's why I didn't love it as much as other Disney films, but I remember enjoying it, so I'm not sure why I never revisited it. So to that point, I did not know this answer. In researching, I found out it was beans, bacon, whiskey, and lard. Movie was released in 2001, also featured the voice work of Michael J. Fox, James Garner, John Mahoney, and Leonard Nimoy. And I also kind of thought of another movie trivia question that could come out of this, like maybe under animated. Jim Varney was actually the voice of Cookie, so if someone were to get asked maybe what 2 Disney characters did Jim Varney voice, you could say Cookie and Slinky Dog from Toy Story. So thank you for that, Jay. Actually kind of got my mind thinking on some other possible questions. So another question I got from Jay Burns, what year did the Boondock Saints come out? So I told him that, you know, movie release dates weren't my thing, so he definitely was trying to help me out with that. I guessed 1997, but the answer was actually 1999. I remember seeing this movie maybe like 1 time because I was a huge fan of Walking Dead, and Norman Reedus, like, oh my gosh, so hot. So I thought I would check it out, but it didn't really stick with me. I didn't really remember it that well. Other things I found out about this movie is directed by Troy Duffy, also stars Willem Dafoe, Sean Patrick Flanery, and they play the McManus brothers. Question I got from Yakoslav Rozendik. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I hope I pronounced that right. He asked me, name the 3 films James Dean starred in. So of course the only one I knew was Rebel Without a Cause, because everybody knows Rebel Without a Cause. But the other 2 were East of Eden and Giant. Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden both came out in 1955, and Giant came out in 1956, and I believe that was his last film, right? Yeah, I think that was the last film. So well, duh, if he only did 3 films. Duh. Maybe I need to stop drinking this beer down here. Anyway, thank you, Yakoslav, for the question. Another question from Jay. Oh, what is the name of the fictional rock band that ADD opens for at the end of the movie The Rocker? So I love Rainn Wilson on The Office. I love him as Dwight, but for whatever reason, I've never seen any of his movies. Like, I've never seen Super, I've never seen this one. So I didn't know. In my research, the answer is Vesuvius. Movie came out in 2008. Also stars Christina Applegate, Josh Gad, and Emma Stone. So is this movie really funny? Should I check it out? I don't know. I really like Rainn Wilson, so I just don't know why I've never thought to check out any of his movies. So let me know if you think I should check this one out. Next question, what year did The Rocketeer come out? I guess 1993, but the answer was actually 1991. This movie was actually out when I was like a kid and liked stuff like this, and I remember posters and trailers, but I just, for whatever reason, I don't think I ever saw it. So it's definitely on my list to check out. I remember hearing Dan Murrell gushing about how much he loves this movie, so definitely worth a watch. It's on my list to check out for sure. Other things I found out about it, directed by Joe Johnston, starred Billy Campbell, Jennifer Connelly, Alan Arkin, and I do believe Timothy Dalton is the villain in this movie, and it is set in 1938 Los Angeles. Another question I got from Jay, in what classic film will you hear the quote, I could have been a contender, I could have been somebody? I don't know, for whatever reason, I just hear like a Robert De Niro someone of that ilk saying it, but yet I knew it was like from an older movie. So I just guessed Robert De Niro in Raging Bull, but that of course was totally wrong, and the answer is Marlon Brando from On the Waterfront. That movie came out in 1954 and was directed by Elia Kazan. Another question from Jay, who directed the movie Fahrenheit 451 from 1966. I had no idea. Answer is Francois Truffaut, and it also stars Oscar Werner and Julie Christie. Thank you, Jay, for finally throwing me a bone and giving me one I already know. He asked, what was Norman Bates' hobby in Psycho? It was taxidermy. Really enjoyed that movie, the first Hitchcock movie I'd seen. I really enjoyed the performances. Some of the shots were gorgeous. Just a really tense, kind of scary, really enjoyable, fun watch. And I just signed up for like a free 7-day trial of that Shudder app on Amazon Prime, and it's full of Hitchcock films that I've been wanting to see for years. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that 7-day trial. So thank you, Jay, for that. Jay also asked me what movie that came out in 1960 did Peter Ustinov win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I had no idea, and the answer was Spartacus, which I had no idea was directed by Stanley Kubrick. Like, how did I not know that? But definitely very interesting to find that out. And also I found out that Ustinov also was an uncredited writer on the film with Dalton Trumbo. So I thought that was very interesting. Question from my good friend Morgan Robinson. He asked me in which, who played the male lead opposite Audrey Hepburn in Roman Holiday? And so just in my mind, I think I was seeing the poster for the movie Charade, and I just guessed Cary Grant, but that is wrong, and the answer is Gregory Peck. The movie was directed by William Wyler, released in 1953, and yeah, so definitely, I don't know why I just kept picturing Cary Grant, because I just have seen them in scenes together, and I just pictured that poster, but it was definitely Gregory Peck. So I heard that's a fun little romance, and I don't think I've really seen any Audrey Hepburn movies, so definitely one I need to check out. So thank you, Morgan. Morgan also asked me in which 1987 movie does Robert De Niro play a version of the devil? I had no idea, and the answer was Angel Heart, a movie I've never heard of. My research tells me it was directed by Alan Parker, and it also starred Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet. So I don't know, is this like a good thriller? Should I check it out, Morgan? Next question is from Jay Burns. What was the name of Sidney Poitier's character in the movie In the Heat of the Night? So I actually knew this one because my late stepdad, Barney, he loved these movies, and so I'd sit and watch these with him. The answer is Virgil Tibbs. I remember watching the sequel with him, so of course they call me Mr. Tibbs, that classic delivery. So definitely one I knew. Movie was released in 1976. Director was Norman Jewison. And yeah, just definitely remember that iconic line from one of the other movies in that, the Mr. Tibbs line. So that was how I remembered that, Virgil Tibbs. Thank you, Jay. Question from William S. Belford. Who directed It Happened One Night? I actually knew this one mostly because I just recently watched this movie. Who directed It Happened One Night? Frank Capra, classic film director. I really loved this movie, and in watching this movie, I could see how rom-coms today took a lot from this. I feel like this was like kind of setting the stage of those rom-coms that you see today, or the rom-coms that you got in the 90s. They borrowed a lot from this movie. So I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. The dynamic of the two leads was really great, and just a lot of fun. Let's see, stars Clark Gable, Claudette Colbert, released 1934. Just a lot of fun. And I found another trivia question that maybe could come out of this. Like in Sex and the City 2, Big and Carrie are actually watching this movie in bed. So this could definitely be a question like, what movie were Big and Carrie watching in bed in Sex and the City 2? It Happened One Night. Another question from Jay Burns. What horror film that came out in 1985 has characters named Spider, Trash, and Suicide? I had no idea. The answer is Return of the Living Dead. I definitely want to check this movie out. My friend Brandon said he had recently watched it, and he said this movie has probably the scariest zombies because they're smart and you can't kill them unless you completely destroy them. And I thought that sounded really cool. So, and I love zombie movies, so definitely one I want to check out. And it was directed by Dan O'Bannon. Let's see, next question. Who composed the score for The Bodyguard? I had no idea. And it turns out it was Alan Silvestri. So that was really cool to find out the guy who does all the Marvel scores did the Bodyguard score. That's really cool. Movie came out in 1982, directed by Mick Jackson, and written by Lawrence Kasdan. Starred, of course, Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. Another question from William Belford. Who played Harvey Dent in 1989's Batman? Of course, I knew this one. Billy D. Williams. Of course, he didn't get his chance to play him in live action, but I'm so glad that they came back to him and had him do the voice of Two-Face in Lego Batman movie. That was so much fun. Let's see. What number is Jason Takes Manhattan in Friday the 13th series? I guessed it was the 8th movie, and I was actually right. I've only seen the first Friday the 13th, so I kind of just had to guess. But I guessed right, because I think this maybe came up in another Schmoedown match that I was at watching a taping of, and I think that's how I got to that point of thinking it was 8. So yeah. Another question from William. Who plays the Crimson Bolt in the movie Super? And like I said, I have never seen any of Rainn Wilson's movies, but just based off of promotional material, I knew that it was Rainn Wilson. I don't know, is this another movie I should check out? I know it was written and directed by James Gunn. Came out in 2010. Also co-stars Ellen Page, Liv Tyler, and Kevin Bacon. So I heard this is actually a really funny take on a superhero movie. So definitely putting it on the list to check out. Let's see. Another question from William. For what movie did Warren Beatty win a Best Director Oscar? I had no idea, and the answer was Reds. It was released in 1981. Also co-stars Diane Keaton, Edward Herrmann, and it was co-written by Warren Beatty. Let's see, and I never heard of it, so of course I didn't know the answer. Let's see, Jay asked me another question. What was the name of the fascist dictator played by Charlie Chaplin's 1940s film, The Great Dictator? I've heard of this movie, but of course I've never seen it, so I had no idea. The answer is, I can't read my own handwriting, something Hinkle, dictator of Tomania. So, yeah, I'm terrible and I can't read my own handwriting, so I can't read the first name, but the last name is Hinkle, dictator of Tomania. So I had no idea. I've never seen any Charlie Chaplin films. I know he's very influential in movie history, and I saw the movie with Robert Downey Jr., but I've never seen a Chaplin film. Fun fact, his great-granddaughter was a character on Game of Thrones. Let's see. Jay also asked me in 2002, in what 2002 film will you find all these actors? Charles Dance, Martin Freeman, and Michael Gambon. So I had guessed Gosford Park, because I knew a couple of them were in it, but that was wrong. The answer was actually Ali G in the House. So I'd never seen that movie, and it's just so funny to see like these classically trained actors in this silly Ali G spoof movie. But yeah, my guess was Gosford Park. What year did Korean zombie thriller Train to Busan come out? Love this movie. This is probably the most beautiful zombie movie I've ever seen. It's so well done. I love the zombies are creepy and scary. All the relationships are great. The characters are really great. Just such a gorgeous zombie movie. I love it. I knew this one because I had recently watched it. It came out in 2016. So thank you for that, Jay. Another question from Jay. Um, what year did the movie The Grapes of Wrath come out? And bonus, what state does the Joad family move to in the same movie? Well, I've never seen The Grapes of Wrath. I've never read the book The Grapes of Wrath, so I had no idea. The answer was 1940, and the bonus was they moved to California. It stars Henry Fonda, directed by John Ford, and based on the novel by John Steinbeck. Didn't John Steinbeck, did he also write Of Mice and Men? I don't remember. One of those books that you have to read in high school. Yeah. Books are not my thing. I'm sorry. I need to get better with that. Let's see. Next question, also from Jay. What was the name of the diabolical nurse in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? And bonus, what year did it come out? So, of course, I didn't know the bonus, but I knew her name was Nurse Ratched. I loved that movie. I recently seen it, I think maybe 2 years ago was the first time I had seen it. Really loved it. Great story, great performances. Nurse Ratched was played by Louise Fletcher. The movie was directed by Milos Forman. Came out in 1957. Also starred Brad Dourif, Chucky, Danny DeVito. Just a great movie. So thank you for that question. Psycho was the first film in history to show what? A flushing toilet. I actually knew that one too. So thank you so much for throwing me some ones that I might actually know. Okay, let's see, what's the next question? Also from Jay, how many different roles did Peter Sellers play in Doctor Strangelove? I guessed 3, and that's the right answer. I've never seen this movie. I know it's like a classic and everybody loves it. It's kind of on my list to subconsciously check out just because it's one of those movies that everybody knows about. I don't think I've ever really seen any Peter Sellers movies, but definitely one to check out. It was released in 1964 and directed by Stanley Kubrick as well. Another question from the great Jay Burns. What movie came out in 1995 that had the tagline, "Attitude is everything"? Of course I didn't know this one. And the answer was, did I answer this question? I didn't answer this question. I think I skipped that one. Oh yeah, I don't think I could find the answer, so I skipped that one and went on to the next one. So the next question is, what newspaper magnate was Charles Foster Kane based on in the film Citizen Kane? I talked about this in my last video, how just out of spite and everyone telling me that Citizen Kane is the best movie ever, you have to watch it. I just kind of not watched it out of spite. So yes, I had no idea. But the answer is William Randolph Hearst, and also a little bit Joseph Pulitzer was based on him as well, and came out in 1941, of course directed by Orson Welles. So I will eventually get to Citizen Kane, but I'm not gonna watch it just because you're telling me it's so great, okay? Next question was from Matt Nixick, and he asked me what actress played the Wicked Witch of the West in the movie The Wizard of Oz. I could not remember her name, but the answer is Margaret Hamilton. Poor lady, I think I heard like her skin got all burned from the green paint. Oh, poor lady. Movie came out in 1939 and it was directed by Victor Fleming. Let's see. Next question is from Benjamin Kane, who directed the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Of course, I knew that one, Robert Zemeckis. Love that movie. Came out in 1988. Stars Bob Hoskins, R.I.P., Christopher Lloyd, and Charles Fleischer did the like motion capture stuff, and not really motion capture, I think, but I think he was just there like in a suit on the set doing the voice as they animated to it. So I wonder if they would ever try to remake that movie now that mocap is like a huge thing. Do you think people would totally hate that idea? Probably. But yeah. Another question from Benjamin Kane. In the 2011 remake of Footloose, who played Willard Hewitt, Ren's friend? I believe it was Miles Teller. I love the original Footloose. It's really fun. I showed it to my 18-year-old little brother. I think he was like 17 at the time. and he had never heard of this movie, seen this movie. Of course, he thought it was completely ridiculous, but he actually thought it was really fun. The remake, I think, was pretty unnecessary, but of course I saw it because I love the original. And yeah, I remembered Miles Teller played the Chris Penn part. Sean Penn's late brother played the original Willard in the original movie. It was directed by Craig Brewer. Ren was played by Kenny, and I can't read my handwriting again. Mermaid? Okay. Julianne Hough played Ariel, and Dennis Quaid was Reverend Shaw. Yeah. And the year? Yeah, he already put the year in the question. Okay, sorry, this is such a sloppy video, guys. I'm just kind of going through this as best I can. I suck at this, but I'm trying to do this without being totally awkward. So thank you guys for being patient with me. Who directed Beverly Hills Cop 3? I had no idea, and I was surprised to find out that it was John Landis. It was filmed at Universal Studios, and came out in 1994. And I remember the whole theme park thing. I think that's the one I remember most. Like, I don't really remember the other two as much. And I remember that whole scene with the like earthquake scene. I knew right away that was Universal, because I remember when I would go to Universal as a kid, that was always like, I always thought that was so cool on the tour. So when I saw that, I'm like, that is totally Universal Studios. So yeah, a lot of fun. Next question is also from Benjamin Kane. Name 2 of the 3 actors who played Harvey Dent in Batman live action films. I can name all 3 of them. Billy Dee Williams, Tommy Lee Jones, and Aaron Eckhart. Definitely would have loved to see, like mentioned before, Billy Dee Williams actually be Two-Face in the sequels. But I'm still glad he got his chance in Batman, Lego Batman. Tommy Lee Jones, oh, that was unfortunate. But I still remember, actually, Batman Forever. I remember in 6th grade telling somebody that that was my favorite movie. But yeah, full disclosure. But yeah, all 3. So another question from Benjamin Kane. Which band appears at the beginning of the Simpsons movie? And Benjamin Kane, you can see the future, because top secret, this question will actually appear in an upcoming Schmoedown match. So yeah, you're on the pulse of the questions for the Schmoedown, because this question will actually come up soon in a Schmoedown match. So be very proud of yourself, Benjamin Kane. Which band appears at the beginning of the Simpsons movie? And I had no idea, because I've only seen the Simpsons movie 1 time, and the answer was Green Day. The movie came out in 2007. Let's see. Meryl Streep was nominated for her first Academy Award for her performance in which film? I guessed Kramer versus Kramer, and the answer was Deer Hunter. Kramer versus Kramer was her first win, but Deer Hunter was her first nomination, which is the question. Yeah. So that one tricked me. And Meryl Streep is always that wheel slice that everybody's cheering for, so I think maybe I do need to brush up on my Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep, Meryl Streep. Anyway, who composed the score for Thor Ragnarok? Also a question from Benjamin. I had no idea. And the answer is, I guessed Alan Silvestri, because I know he's in most of the Avengers and all of that. But the answer was Mark Mothersbaugh. Came out, of course, 2017, directed by Taika Waititi. I know some of the other scores, like Ludwig Göransson, he did Black Panther. Tyler Bates, he did Guardians of the Galaxy. Henry Jackman, he did Captain America Civil War, because that actually is my favorite track. If you ever have a chance to check it out, Taking a Stand from, or not Civil War, Winter Soldier. So if you ever have a chance to check out the score from Winter Soldier, Taking a Stand, that's probably my favorite Marvel track in any of the movies. So good, just epic, and the sour horns and the chords, and the build of it, it's just really great. Check it out. Next question, also from Benjamin Kane. Who directed I Love You Man? Now, I love this movie, but I didn't know. And the answer is John Hamburg, and the movie came out in 2009. Such a funny movie, and I've actually, since I've been going to LA a lot for Schmoedown, I've actually been to a lot of the locations that you see in the movie, so that's kind of cool. What year did the movie Drive Me Crazy hit? I'm all about my 90s teen movies, so if I knew any dates, these would probably be my best shot. I guess 1999, and it was actually 1998, so I was off by a year. And anybody else like creeped out that it ended in that movie, like their parents are hooking up but then they get together, so basically they're like stepbrother and sister but now they're like a couple? Like, is that really a good way to end that movie? Like, does anybody even like think about that? So yeah, Drive Me Crazy. Some weird step sibling incestual behavior going on there. Yeah. Next question is from my friend Brandon Hanna. In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, for how many months was Violet Beauregard chewing the same piece of gum? I remember this, 3 months. She rubs it in her friend Cordelia's face. Definitely a fun movie. Other questions that I might get from there, what city is she from? Miles City, Montana. Her dad is Square Deal Sam. She sticks her gum behind her ear when she's not chewing on it. Movie came out in 1971. The director was Mel Stewart and was based on a Roald Dahl book. So that's the first half of questions I'm going to get through in this video. Thank you guys so much for sending them all in. I hope this video wasn't too awkward and ridiculous because I'm just silly old me. So here we go for the giveaway. I've got all the names here in my Black Panther. So I'm going to shake it up. And let's see. And the first winner of the giveaway is Morgan Robinson. Congratulations, Morgan. You are the first winner of this contest. And the second winner is Benjamin Kane. Yay! So thank you guys so much for participating. So I will contact you to send me your information so I can get these sent out to you guys. Thank you so much for your questions, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much. Bye.